And there we have it. Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. Marleah Campbell, Gabe Swartz. Lots to talk about today. We're going to run through some big Chiefs news, preview week 3 a little bit, and then talk about a big week for the Royals continuing as they near the end of their playoff push here. 11 games to go in the regular season. But we begin with the Royals, Gabe, particularly biggest story of the day. One of the biggest headlines this season, as we are now 14 days or whatever it is in. Chiefs reportedly re-signing Kareem Hunt, the running back from the Browns, to their practice squad. I say re-signing, of course, because he was with the Chiefs in 2017 before being waived in 2018 following a domestic incident. That video surfaced online. As a rookie in 2017, though, Hunt led all NFL rushers with over 1,300 yards on the ground. Gabe, initial thoughts on this re-signing in the wake of Isaiah Pacheco's absence in the foreseeable future, definitely missing 4 games. We're seeing 6 to 8 weeks online. However you put it, not coming back relatively soon.
I think that it is it's a signing. I don't know if that's what everybody wants to hear, but it's someone who, at least from an offensive understanding of the Andy Reid system and such, knows what he's doing in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. I don't think that the expectation, or I don't think any reasonable person is expecting the production to look like what it did in 2017 or 2018. I think in 2018, in 11 games, he had 14 touchdowns, 7 rushing and 7 receiving. Like, that is not going to happen. I don't know how often he will touch the ball for the Chiefs, but last year he was a career low in yards per touch, but a career high in touchdowns. So if the opportunity is there to contribute at the goal line, I think it could help. Especially because Samaje Perine is not specifically like a goal line guy.
Right.
And I don't know if they're going to completely trust an undrafted free agent to do that kind of duty for 6 straight weeks. So maybe Kareem Hunt suits up on Sunday night. I don't know if he will or will not this week, and maybe there's a practice squad elevation for a Keontae Ingram or Amani Bailey, but it's fine. I think that anyone thinking like 2018 was so long ago. The last time that Kareem Hunt suited up in a Chiefs uniform was significant. Like, we're getting to the point, today is Patrick Mahomes' birthday, and everyone's like, man, he's a year away from 30. And it's like, yeah, Kareem Hunt is too. Kareem Hunt's 29 years old. So temper the expectations. Just know that it's someone who, on the field, if we're just talking on the field, it's someone who has shown an understanding of the playbook. And I think that's the reason that in a depleted free agent running back market, I think this signing pretty much closes the door on Jerick McKinnon's career. Like, I don't think if he wasn't coming back in this situation, he probably is not needed. And maybe that's just a matter of that his skills are a little redundant to what Samaje Perine does. But I don't think that there was anyone worth poaching from another team's practice squad. They clearly didn't like or didn't love what they saw in game action of preseasons from Deneric Prince. So that's kind of how I guess they end up here, and you just hope that Isaiah Pacheco can make a recovery and be back at a reasonable time, maybe by like mid-November, end of November, early December.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you broke that down perfectly. I wonder if those conversations were had with Jerick McKinnon. We'll never know, but certainly interesting. Man, that's just big news on Sunday, losing. Let's move on to the injury bug concern here. We have the highlight on the side. Isaiah Pacheco goes down to injury really late in the game, ends up being a fractured fibula. This adds to the fact that the Chiefs lost Hollywood Brown in the first preseason game, but really last week we found out this was an extended thing. We thought it was 3 to 4 weeks before then. You know, in the Chiefs' last couple Super Bowl runs, they've been very fortunate in the sense of staying relatively healthy, like keeping most of their key pieces on the field. Yes, there are exceptions, losing Charles Omenihu in the AFC Championship game. I mean, the list could go on and on. Travis Kelce not playing in last year's week 1 opener. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, those pieces have remained intact. Through week 2, you lost 2 key pieces of this offense. I mean, if I had to list the 5 guys who might have the most production offensively, it would start with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yep.
It would include Hollywood and Pacheco, and then you might throw Rashee Rice or someone in there. But you lost 2 of those pieces. It's week 2. One of those pieces out for the regular season. The other piece out for 6 to 8 weeks here. I know it's earlier in the season, but where is your concern level with the injury bug that we've seen so far through 2 weeks?
It's certainly heightened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that there was anything that like the Chiefs' rushing attack is not typically explosive, but it was, especially on Sunday when they were willing to run the ball, because the Bengals A, aren't very good against the run, and B, are pretty willing to, when they're playing the Chiefs, allow the Chiefs to run the ball just based on the amount of cover 2 that they play. I think that it's interesting and it's a little concerning to see what happens with the running back room, of whether it's because you're not going to give Samaje Perine. He's just not the kind of running back that's going to get 10 to 12 carries a game.
Yeah,
so if you're going to run the ball that amount of time, it has to be Steele and it has to be Kareem Hunt to a certain extent. And I don't know how effective that will be.
Let me add this speed bump to the equation, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was placed on the, I believe, it's on the, is it the injured list? Non-injured?
It's non-football illness, but
yeah.
It's still 4 games that he
4
has to
games,
miss.
so we got 2 more minimum. Then you could potentially see Clyde coming back to the field. So that might throw a wrench in things in a couple weeks. But as of right now, we're down to Steele and Perine. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, well, and it's just like, so even if they don't need to be, they're not expecting to get 15, 20-yard run plays. Being able to just have someone that you can trust to keep you ahead of the sticks on a first down run, or get something back on a 2nd and 10 if they do run the ball. Sometimes they do that. Is interesting. If they're not able to be effective in the run game with Carson Steele or with Kareem Hunt in that sense, while they don't have Pacheco, then you get into the spot where you were at last year, and you get into the spot where they were at given what they faced in coverage against the Bengals on Sunday, which is everything that they complete is near the line of scrimmage, and we just completely throw out what was discussed in preseason of the deep shots back and all these kinds of things. So, like, yes, they hit the 44-yard touchdown pass to Rashee Rice, and that was a good sign on Sunday, but it was the only ball that was completed deep downfield. I know that there would have been, for the DPI, there would have been the 41-yarder to Kelce that got called back due to a penalty, and there would have been another long one to Rashee Rice that got called back due to a penalty on the offensive line. But that's where I'm intrigued to see what things go, because sometimes you start to worry about the offensive line, the protection, and how much they can run the ball against teams that have great pass rushes, and then the Chiefs come up with a game plan where it's screens and quick game and everything, and that kind of slows down the pass rush and allows them to throw the ball deeper. That might be what they have to do to open up deep passing if they're not going to run the ball super well, is they're going to have to throw the ball short with the intermediate, like treat it like a run kind of stuff. So I'm intrigued to see I'm very fascinated to see what Sunday night looks like now, because with first game without Isaiah Pacheco.
And we still don't know who's starting at left tackle. Andy Reid didn't really lend his cards, shockingly, yesterday on his Zoom because of what you mentioned on those plays getting called back. One of them, big one, with Kingsley Suamataeo with the penalty there. And he just had overall a rough day. I was in the locker room after the game, and I asked him. I said, and Gabe, you were there with me, and the question was, what advice were you getting from Patrick Mahomes, from Travis Kelce, whose big play, you negated? And he said they kept telling him, you're the future of this program. We believe in you, head up. And he didn't seem to be giving himself any grace there, and he said it should have never happened. So there's a question mark for Sunday night between him and Wanya Morris, who's going to play. Your starting running back goes down late in the game. I was surprised by that news. Gabe, did you catch it live? Did you see Pacheco go down?
I saw him hobble off and immediately thought, that's not a great look. It didn't look great. I didn't think it was anything. When I saw him, saw the TV copy of the like I just went back and looked at the video of the TV copy, and you can see him jumping up and down after Butker makes the game-winning field goal, and you're thinking, oh, okay, like maybe he had a little bit of adrenaline to make a high ankle sprain not feel as bad. Well, most of us are not him, and most of us would not be jumping around on a broken or fractured fibula, but that's the way that it was for him, and it just shows you the difference between their toughness and most people.
Yeah. Well, the tricky part about being at games live is you don't have the luxury. When I watched the close-up replay of the injury, it was like, oh my gosh, that looked really, really bad. But watching it live in real time, you get one distant look at it and then you move on. So when I heard he was leaving the field in crutches, I was like, that doesn't make sense. I just saw him walk up the tunnel, as you said. Walking up on a fractured leg doesn't sound like something I would be able to do. But fingers crossed he comes back quickly, because he's been a key piece of this offense early and consistently in the past. Okay, let's move on real quick before we round out our Chiefs coverage to Week 3. Little preview. We kind of jumped into this already, so we can kind of skim over it. But Chiefs head to Atlanta, where they will take on the 1-1 Falcons. Sunday Night Football, so we've got a primetime slot. Thoughts on this one? Obviously, a lot of moving pieces, and it's still early in the week. We still have 5 days to go, but an early look at Sunday's matchup against Atlanta.
I don't typically believe too much in the you might get a team not with as much of a level of focus or something along those lines, because it's the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are pretty much everybody's weekly Super Bowl.
Yep.
But I do think it's a positive that the Falcons managed to win last night against the Eagles and are not going to be a desperate, backs against the wall 0-2 team going into this one on Sunday night. I think that's probably something that's decent. I also think that given the success that we've seen Steve Spagnuolo and them have against Kirk Cousins when he was in a Vikings uniform, and with how stagnant and how immobile he is in the pocket because of his torn Achilles from last year, I'm very interested to see the amount of blitzing and what kind of pressure they can put on him, because anytime that it looked like anytime Cousins was under duress, whether it was against the Steelers in Week 1 or against the Eagles last night, he shelled up a little bit, and you can certainly see him expecting contact and kind of tensing up. But their 2-minute drive to end the game, they kind of stole one from the Eagles last night. So it's certainly one of those games where it's another primetime game, and it's another one of those Chiefs games that even if you're expecting, I think they're favored by 4.5, even if you're expecting the Chiefs to come away with a touchdown win or whatever, it'll probably come down to another drive at the end.
For my sanity, I hope it doesn't.
And maybe it'll be Mahomes with the ball. Maybe it'll be Kirk Cousins with the ball. Who knows? I just know that Patrick Mahomes is statistically incredible everywhere, but in particular in domes. So I think it's like 20 touchdowns, 3 picks career in a dome.
Jeez.
So I'm intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by the matchup of Steve Spagnuolo scheming up things to confuse and pressure Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, let me ask you this before we move on, just because you reminded me of Mahomes' 2 interceptions last week. Any concern there, or do you think he's just trying to – I mean, one of them I think was really, really bad. I mean, the second one wasn't great, but do you chalk that up to just trying to find guys downfield, or, just kind of a week 2 rust?
The first one I would say was like one of those shocking – he just didn't see someone that he typically would see, and he was kind of forcing it into Kelsey.
Yeah.
And from our angle up top, you could just see it coming. As soon as he let go of the ball, you're like,
everyone was like,
there's a guy right between him and Travis Kelsey. The second one, I think he underthrew, I believe, based on just feeling pressure from Trey Hendrickson. It was mid or late third quarter, and Trey Hendrickson was just beating Kingsley throughout that second half.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he just didn't get everything on it. Andy Reid kind of made it sound like it was a little bit on Xavier Worthy for the way that he ran the route. I'm not an expert in that regard, so I don't know what the issue was. But, yeah, the 3 interceptions in September is not something that we're used to seeing from him. Yeah. I'm certainly intrigued to see if Sunday night they can finally put together a clean offensive operation.
Yeah. If you would have looked at the turnover battle going 3-1 with blanks on the logos, it's tough to have that turnover differential and still come out with a win, but it shows you how good the Chiefs are and how they're able to pull out situations down the stretch. Okay, moving on to massive game tonight. We got the Royals hosting the Tigers in game 2. If you missed, there we are. If you missed yesterday, Bobby Wood Jr. grand slam in the 3rd inning. He had his 200th hit also last night, but it wasn't enough. Kansas City goes on to lose 7-6. Game 2 tonight, man, 11 games left in the regular season. We'll touch on this too, but the playoff push is real. They have a 4-game cushion for a wild card spot. But it's interesting because chasing them are the Twins, close behind, and then the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
So the AL Central is really clogging up that bottom kind of chasing zone of things that could be interesting over the next couple of days here.
Yeah, and really the Royals just need to get one of the 3 games. And that's why last night was a little frustrating, because if they had won, they could have distanced themselves between, well, first of all, the Twins blew a 3-0 lead against the Guardians in Cleveland. So that was a chance to get 3.5 games up on them for that for the 5th seed and be clear of the last spot. It also would have given them a 6-game lead over the Tigers. Now they're down to a 4-game lead. The only way that you get yourself in a spot where the Tigers feel like, man, we're right there on them is if they sweep the Royals. And Tariq Skubal goes tomorrow night. So tonight with Reagan's going against Casey Mize, who's just not one of the better pitchers in the AL. He's near a 5 ERA. It's not a must win because they're still several games clear of the final wild card spot, and they're still well above 90% chance to make the playoffs. But it feels like one of those games where I would just say I lean toward thinking they're going to win. They've just proven, especially when Cole Reagans goes to the mound, of needing to get a win. And when I think there's something along the lines of they had like 6 or 7 wins with Reagans this year, where the Royals have lost several games in a row, and then he comes in and stops the streak. So I'm pretty confident going into tonight that Cole Reagans is going to perform well, and that the Royals will get a win, get back to a comfortable lead over the Tigers. And if the Tigers then win on Wednesday and get it back to 4 games back of the Royals, 4 games with 9 to go, and the Royals having the head-to-head tiebreaker, I think you'd still feel great about that if you're Kansas City.
Kansas City right now, according to FanGraphs, has a 95.9% chance of making the playoffs. I just need to see that go up to 100 before I can take a sigh of relief. I mean, it'd be the Royals' 3rd, you can see it on the bottom there if you're watching this with us, 3rd postseason appearance in 39 years. Obviously, 2014, 2015, a magical time in this city. We're just a tick under 96%. I like those odds, but again, I want to see it 100 before we can collectively celebrate. But Gabe, real quick as we end the show here, growing up in Kansas City, what would it mean to you to see this team get back there this year, especially with the context of a 106-loss season last year?
I just think going into this year, like, we spent so much time in March and April joking about, can the Royals play competitive baseball until Chiefs training camp starts? Can the Royals play competitive baseball until, and then once they started playing competitive baseball, it's,
oh, wait a minute.
Could they play competitive baseball until the Chiefs regular season starts? And now it's like, can they keep it rolling into the postseason? And once they get in, now we're like, man, nobody in baseball is going to win 100 games this year. Or if there is, it's probably only maybe one team, maybe the Phillies do it.
Yep.
I think it's anybody's ball game if they get in, and especially with the way that they pitch, with the 1, 2, 3 of Reagans, Lugo, and Waka. I know that the bullpen and like nights like last night, you're just kicking yourself of being like, man, up 4-0, and when a team hits a grand slam at home, they win those games in the MLB more than like 80% of the time. So it feels like a really lost opportunity, but I don't know. It's just get into the dance, get everybody in Kansas City believing, and if there's a playoff game at Kauffman this year, it is unequivocally the best season in the last decade for sure. Since 2015, and it's just been great to see. I think they're ahead of schedule. But it's baseball. You don't know what's going to happen next year because they've had a great year of Bobby, Salvi, Vinny. I know Vinny hasn't been healthy since the broken thumb, but
Yeah.
3 guys in the top 15 in the league in RBI for most of the year, and you got to take advantage of an all-time great season by Bobby and a really, really special Salvi season as well.
It's been fun hearing a lot of people talk about, bringing that 2014 and 2015 era kind of back up, especially with we got to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the 2014 team earlier this season at the K. Hopefully making some new memories here. Again, 96% chance.
Yep.
I like those odds, but could certainly increase them even more tonight. Gabe, thank you so much. We will talk to you soon. Appreciate your insight as always. And for now, go Chiefs, go Royals.